Hello everyone, we are here at Teravarna with artist Olga
Hello.
and she was one of our winners in Art Bias 2 last night. We had this gala opening and she was there. And then I just wanted to introduce her. We are here in her flat, in her beautiful apartment with all her paintings and all her artwork. And I just wanted to, hear a few things from her. So, hi Olga, how are you doing?
Hi, nice, and how are you?
It's okay, it's a little hot.
Yes, it's good effect, you know.
Not like
We
Mongolia.
entered summer, so.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself to begin with?
Yeah, sure. I was born in USSR, so a while ago I finished
Wow.
2 schools and I started to study since I was 3 years old. I also finished Academy of Arts as an art historian, and after that I moved to Canada and I lived there for several years. And
Okay.
it apparently was too cold for me. I realized it only after.
And you're from USSR?
uh,
It's too cold for you.
Yes, Leningrad, so now it's St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. Well, that's not. I mean.
Yeah, but in Hungary I got very cute questions, like because, for example, when I moved here 8 years ago, I went to the bank to open the bank account.
Okay.
And there was like a young guy who worked there, and he asked me why at the small age I moved from Leningrad to St. Petersburg, and I was like, can I Google the answer for you?
Oh, why did he move? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Wow.
was just like, that's deep.
That's really deep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's confusing parts of the history that no,
Yeah.
I need to explain.
What's even more confusing is some of my relatives that I know, they stayed in the same place. They were born in the same place, and they were born in India. They grew up in Pakistan, and they now live in Bangladesh because same city, different
Maybe just like
countries.
my house is traveling, just like
St.
magic.
Petersburg, yeah. And then maybe who knows? Later on, it'll be like Puchinsburg or something, and you'll have to look at that.
But
right?
at least now I'm in Budapest, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like
It's kind of constant.
it's stable.
Well, you're
yeah.
still Buddha and Pesh, but.
I'm in Buda.
Okay, there you go. Okay, great. Okay, so what's a process you follow in your art? Is there a process? Can you describe that, please?
Well, I was thinking a lot about like what I mean by what I'm doing, like self-reflection, let's say, especially because of my education as art historian. Like you constantly like want to analyze the artwork. That's why I cannot go normally to museums and just admire the art. I analyzed it. So I do the same with myself, and I was thinking like, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, it's a good question to ask yourself. And basically, I
No
love.
answer. Okay.
Yes, I
answer.
have an answer. I have an answer.
Yeah, okay.
So I do love like using watercolors because it gives me like a balance between the control and letting go.
Mhm.
Because you can release a lot of the control when you're painting on the wet surface, and basically you just like trust the life and the process, and it's just like partly co-creation with the nature and like just the universe, because I don't affect the gravity. Like I can play with it,
Mhm.
but I cannot like cancel it.
Right,
So
right.
it doesn't.
You can.
Yeah.
You gotta go to space.
That's the thing, I need to go away, but I cannot cancel it. It still will be there,
Right.
just like live with that. So I can use it, but I can use it only by the laws that it works. So that's why on the first layer, like when everything just flowing and basically I'm painting the light, and I'm more feeling than thinking. And later, like because watercolor is the layering technique, on the second and on the third especially, like I develop the shadows and I develop the details. And there I think, and there everything is sharp, and it's more kind of like a balance between feeling and thinking.
Mhm.
And that's
Okay.
what I do.
No, cool. I mean, because watercolor is like that. I mean, it has a lot of transparency. It has a lot of. You have to. It's about a lot about timing also. I mean, you have to be really good at timing. I mean, timing.
you need to be constantly present. Like that's why, for example, when people sometimes come to me, they're just like, "Are you sure you're a painter? Like everything is on place, like there are no stains." I'm like, yes, because you have not like you cannot make mistakes.
Yes.
Like you just
Absolutely,
do it correctly. So for me, it's more like a dance. So you should not be sloppy when you're performing.
Right.
Like you do it correctly from the first time. If you fail, you do it again.
Right.
And you accept your mistake. So for me, it's like very much like reflecting my values in life, because I think, again, if you see the mistake, accept it or make something beautiful from it. You know, so it's not like with oil you just like scratched it and you're just like, okay, it will be fine, or with acrylic you just put it on top and it's okay.
Right.
Nah.
Yeah.
And in life it's the same. You cannot really like revert the time.
Right.
You need to do something or apologize or fix that or do something. So I think watercolor is more close to life. That's why people hate it usually.
I think one of the reasons they hate it, it's a really difficult medium.
Life is difficult.
Of course, life is difficult, but well, life you can't do without. Watercolor you can do without, so they shift to oil.
Yeah, but here you can just like have these safe simulations and learn acceptance and learn how to kind of like deal with stressful situations and trust the process and life.
Of course, yeah, sure.
So I believe it's especially for the modern times, it's really necessary to just like have it as therapeutical, you know, thing, because a lot of people are very not narrow-minded, but kind of like they think that they know what is right, which is usually not.
Which is usually not. And to be honest with you, most of the time there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Even scientific stuff like gravity, and space-time, they kind of, new theory comes and then they believe it, they bet on it.
But they definitely exist.
It definitely exists.
We can agree on
Unlike
that.
some things in life.
Unlike concepts, gravity exists.
Yeah.
So you can just like be angry about it, but it's just like, it's your opinion, bro. So
exactly, you're right. You can't really say it's like evolution. No, it doesn't exist.
yeah, it's just like here, okay.
Sweep it away. We're just us,
Yeah.
Okay, so great. So I mean, I was going to ask this question, but I don't think anyone would want me to ask this, but I'll ask it again. I think I understand your favorite medium is watercolor.
Yes. Correct. Like I love it. So it's not the only media that I use.
Okay.
Like I paint some acrylics or oils.
You do.
Yes, but I don't have that much of satisfaction from the process, because of the way they are. So for me, they're like too slow, let's say, because watercolor is fast. Like especially like if you will work wet on wet, like you work until it's get dry. So
exactly.
You need to be fast. And another medium that I really like is digital art. So I do love VR, I do love AR, and I work on this field. And like,
sorry, you love VR and AR? What kind?
VR, AR, XR. So
yeah, but what I know what
I
VR
like
is,
to create
I know
art
VR is.
objects in it. So for example,
Okay.
I use it even to collaborate with scientists. Like in March we had an expedition to Mongolia, and there I was participating as an artist, and I was scanning with phones and taught the scientists how to do it, like different, like for example, flying deer stones or like some objects. And lately they can present as AR filters on the exhibitions, and people can see it in like real size with their comments and stuff like this. So these kind of things as well.
So let me understand this, since I'm also from science and a little bit, I have some understanding. So so you are taking the background, you're taking the scene, and that's what you're projecting as your AR?
Yeah, so you can like start to like having a 3D model from it, and then you can just like edit it in the Blender, for example, and create an experience for visitors.
Okay, and then that's getting put as like in the let's say in some of those AR glasses and stuff, right?
VR glasses. So AR. VR.
Yeah.
So it can be placed there as well, so the person can actually see like the surroundings and everything. And I think it's very beautiful. Plus, you can obviously add your personal details and edited. And for me, it's very interesting how much immersive art became now, and like all the possibilities that we can create, literally like worlds.
Right.
So I'm very
Enjoy
much
worlds.
up to that as well. Like I love watercolor. Like
Right.
it's my kind of like home.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy digital as well.
You can have like you can project basically the the Mongolian like I don't know gear or
And I can take, for example, this painting
Yeah.
and make it 3D, like an experience that you can go inside of it and check it. I think it's amazing.
Let me ask you this: are we or are we not living in a hologram?
Maybe it's very quality.
The
Good.
way you're working, very soon we will be, right?
If it is a hologram, like that's amazing. The graphics are good.
Graphics are good.
Yeah.
But we're no one to judge, but because we are models in it, right? So we
Yeah. But
graphics.
so far so good. If they will kind of like develop it more, like cool, like.
Yeah. So
Maybe some patches are needed though, like sometimes it's a bit not working system, but
yeah, you're right. And sometimes and some of the graphics you would rather erase, like I don't know,
yeah,
like wars and stuff,
well, in this case, I would erase not graphics, but the process because like not seeing it is not really helpful. Because,
Turn a blind eye to it, right?
Yeah,
It's
like
still
no.
going on, and
So it's not about the graphics there. It's
I guess
about
it's
the
more
process.
like somebody having fun on somebody else's expense, like you do for like one of those, games, like you work on game theory and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, it's like a very big topic actually, and it all goes to kind of like a television as well, because we have this big culture like of movies where violence is like skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And people can eat popcorn and watch how Godzilla just destroys the city, and they're just like, yeah, that's like nice, that's nice. And the thing is, they project it for the news as well, because news are presented as a show as well. And the problem is, it's kind of like in a Blade Runner book, people lose compassion.
Yes.
So the moment you cannot really feel sadness because of someone's death, doesn't matter whose, you lost part of your humanity. Because it does, like all people are the same. They want to have family, they want love, they want to have a nice life.
Absolutely.
And like imagining that somewhere there is someone, like the whole country, who is just beasts. It's not a Game of Thrones, and we don't have like the Night King or stuff like that. So it's all human, and obviously there are like bad people everywhere, mean people everywhere, good people everywhere. And I think this like process of erasing the face and transforming it in something like a monster, it's like the way to destroy the humanity, basically. Because if you lose compassion, you have no mercy.
You're absolutely right, and I would translate. I would take it further to say that it's not only just killing humans. Killing
Everything.
animals, even like an
Animals,
insect, or
our own
like spider, even,
planet.
right? A planet, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But doing it for fun is even worse.
Well, yes. So one thing is killing for fun. Another thing is kind of like killing for survival.
Exactly.
That's completely
That's
different thing.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a historian, so the human being is the most violent and vicious species on the planet, and we efficiently destroyed most of the animals on the planet while we were spreading around the globe. Do I feel ashamed about my ancestors? I'm not sure, because they were trying to survive. If I will look on medieval ages, that was terrible life, and they still were fighting for it. Now we all depressed,
Exactly.
living in our cozy, safe apartments, which is, I don't feel that, and they're just like, what?
First world problem, yeah.
Yeah, and there people were just thinking how they will die till the age of 20, because there were so many possibilities. People were not caring, okay, kid died, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. We have more kids.
It's just terrible. When you just read all this history, you just
Yeah, we're doing okay, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe that's why like history should not be really much edited when it's presented in the schools, because there is the tendency like that because it's traumatizing the kids.
Exactly.
But like it should traumatize, so you want to do this and you will remember what can be, because when you living in like, let's say, relative safety, you forget how it can be, and very fast, because even like studies by the psychology of the people, like there is this Lucifer effect, maybe you heard about it, and it kind of like it goes fast even as a game. So that's pretty much creepy, and I believe that people should be aware about that and value like peace.
So that's great, some great points and ideas, and very very deep. But my question is does any of this come into your art when you create, or
yes,
in the
of
creation
course.
process?
And I also teach arts, so for 13 years already, and it's a big part of my work for me as well, because it's like sharing, it's community building, and it's very like inspiring and uplifting to help people to achieve their dreams, and like that's very satisfying. So the thing is, when you paint, and especially when it's like this first layer of like flow, you can actually see how everything is connected, how one color goes to another one, how they go in harmony, and you don't need to stop them from communication. Because when people are scared, they start to use kind of like wet on dry watercolor. It means that the paper is dry, the brush is wet. And because the paper is dry, it prevents watercolor from communicating. So it doesn't go like together, it doesn't melt, and it looks like a patchwork. And that's, it's fear, basically. And when you just like release it and let go, they start to live in harmony. So again, for me, connection and communication between like us, between the people, between the colors, that's the beauty, and that is how it's supposed to be, and that is the process. And the moment you start to separate, the moment you start to be scared, it all falls apart like a puzzle. So it just like doesn't make any sense. It's not even beautiful. It's just like meh. So yeah.
But what about like, okay, so wet and red is great, but you need great skills for that. So what that means also means is practice. Yeah. So you keep
like walking, you keep trying, you're falling, you keep trying. It's okay. Like a lot of people are saying like, oh, like it's a lot of work. Yes. Like everything is work. Like standing up is work.
Absolutely.
Like
so many muscles working. Right?
Yeah, like, even for smiling, you need to work. You need to
exactly.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
So Olga, how do you discover your style?
I will start from like the question that I got from people. Usually it's like when the artists just like start to work and things like that, they usually have this wonderful question: how can I find my style?
Yeah.
It's just like by self-discovery and practice.
That's good. Is that your French accent? Okay.
Yeah, because it sounds very cheesy, you know, and it's kind of like sometimes they look and you're just like, you just don't want to tell us, but it's actually this, because how you develop it, so you try and you stay very much present with yourself. So a lot of people confuse things that they like to observe with the things they like to do, like football, playing football, watching football.
And this is soccer, right?
Yeah, with
With
the soccer the same, or okay, whatever. So, or watching cooking shows and actually cooking. Like, a lot of people just watch them, so that's okay. But like, that's a big difference, and people need to be honest with themselves what they actually like to do, to kind of experience it or just like watch it. So a lot of people think that if they have the list of their favorite artists and they will try to work in their styles, they will succeed. which is a very bad decision because the artists that I like don't do anything like I do. Because I like them for them and how they feel and how they think, because the way we draw or paint is the way we think. It's very much connected with our mental activity, our character, our emotional traumas and everything. Yeah, so by my teacher's practice, let's say, I observed a lot how different traits of the character affects how people create the composition and everything. So if the person is shy, conflict avoidant, all the composition will be kind of like more soft. They will avoid sharp edges, like they will put everything together, everything will be more round, nothing will kind of like go on top of another, because they just like don't want to have a conflict. And I'm obviously not avoiding the conflicts. So I was studying, let's say, softness. Yeah, because I had a period in my life when I was almost like black and white or very contrast, so I had no middle ground, which is kind of like a teenage view on the world, let's say. So I was learning how to make gray shades, tertiary colors, something softer, and it like transformed me as well. So because you cannot just like decide that you will make these soft colors and your mind stays the same. Your mind will change as well because you perform different mental activities. Mm-hmm. So that's why art therapy works basically. So yeah.
Okay, and do you have a name for yourself? Mm-hmm. I mean, do you have a name for your style? Do you call your style something or?
No, it's just me. It's just my character. Okay. It's like how I feel right now, sure. And obviously it's changing. So for example, right. I don't paint the same way I did like a year ago because I'm not the same person as I was. Like I have a life, you know. Yeah, so absolutely. Stuff happens. I continue to think, and my focus changing. Like my feelings are changing. And it's totally normal. So I believe that I know some artists who just like have their favorite object and they just like paint only like a sea or only people. I'm greedy. I need everything. And the thing is, when I post like, I don't know, architecture, people call me like, oh, you're like a cityscape painter. I post some portraiture, you're a portraiture painter. I'm just like, no, I can do anything. Like at some point I was just like, you know what? I don't want to have limitations that like I can do a dog and I cannot do a human. Like, nah. Like I want everything and then I will choose. And basically only from the point of freedom you can actually choose. Because if C is the only thing that you can paint good, you don't have a choice.
Right. No, I understand you very well, and you know that's one of those things. Like as an artist myself too, like you know I never really had one style or one, you know, like I painted pretty much anything, and mm-hmm. people kept saying that, you know, if you have to grow as an artist, if you have to really make a name for yourself, you have to stick to one particular style. And I never. Then I thought, you know, like I really don't want to be, you know, famous because I want to paint. This is one life, you know, like I get one life, and I want to paint, you know, several things. Well, what if, you know, I want to, like you said, paint a dog and paint a monument the next day. You know, I should be able to do that. And one of those artists who did that was like always drawing was Picasso, I think.
Not only, like you can check even Leonardo or like Botticelli, like basically all big artists like Manet, like everyone, they could paint everything.
They could paint everything, and but they stuck with one style though, usually.
Yeah, but not like at one point, and still they have like the works that are presented to the public, like art historian.
That is true. I'm sure you know what I do. Yeah.
The works that are presented to the public, they kind of one style. But each artist, even Degas, it's not only ballerinas. Absolutely. And not everyone knows that he has like a lot of horses and the portraits of male. No one would even recognize him. And it's not because the style is different, but because more than like museums is a marketing. Because they sell good and they pick it as one marketing line. Okay, and it doesn't mean that other artists are bad. It just means that these particular ones are selling good. The moment they will be like low on sales, they will find someone else, and they're like, we'll discover someone new. Like, because it's not about just like who is true artist or not. True artist is that you actually feel something when you're doing it.
Right.
Like that's it, and no one can judge you for that.
Sure. Yeah, because I mean, some of the portraits that Picasso did, like in his early life, sometimes I can't even believe that he did it. Like it's completely different, and so, yeah.
Picasso is a very controversial person, especially like if you read about his actual life, and I cannot say much good about him, especially as a human being. So let's skip that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you're an art historian, so I would get.
Yeah,
I mean, most of these artists were.
I know too much.
Yeah, there's like like Gauguin. There are there's stuff about everyone. Like these days it's almost everyone is being reevaluated as different things. Why did you go to Tahiti and what happened?
Yeah, Leonardo wasn't a good person as well. Like especially his morals were very, very low. But like
right. Yeah.
Okay, he's professional, but
exactly. Yeah.
But still, like I wouldn't like. It's very different, and it's kind of like our pop culture. Like I don't know, you like the song of someone, and you just like admire the person. For me, it's just like no, it's different. I like the song. It doesn't mean that I got the person.
Absolutely.
So and people again transfer it everywhere. So if they like something about like the look or whatever, they think the whole package is good. It's not so.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. That's correct. What inspires you in life, in your art mainly? Like how do you?
Life, I would say.
Life.
Life itself. So I cannot say that like I can see like a particular theme and like got inspired or whatever. I'm happy that I'm alive, and yeah, true. I don't have any like medications. I'm just happy, genuinely, and whatever kind of like I see, there is something in it. There is colors, there is light, there is shapes, and like just beauty of someone else's mind. Like if I'm painting the architecture, I'm really admiring the work, how it looks, that it's preserved and everything. So I would say it's just like joy of living. So I don't paint, I don't know, some gods and stuff like, okay, I know how they look like, I know how they constructed, I know anatomy, but I cannot say that I feel that I really want to spend 12 hours staring on it. Like, nah. So I paint from the place of joy, I would say.
And what's your, how do you start making your art? Like when you start, like, is that something that you just came to your mind and you started, or is there,
Okay, I understood the question.
You understood the question, right? Yeah, maybe the question wasn't
so
good,
I don't really have kind of like this art block when people sometimes they sit and they don't know what to do. For several reasons. One, I constantly want to do something. Second, I have a sketchbook with unfinished sketches like this one, so if I don't know what to do, finish. Or I have commissions as well, and like I take commissions that are either something that I want to paint and we kind of like match in our desires that this thing will happen, or sometimes I get requests that I never thought about, but actually I'm interested because I never did anything like that. So it's more like a challenge. So I accept that as well. So for me, it's interesting. And how I decide what to paint. So if there is nothing that I should do, let's say, because art is my profession, so obviously I have something that like should be done because it's the deadline, and it's not kind of like a question. So I don't need inspiration for that. I have my professional side for that. But if I just like have a day off and I'm thinking, okay, whatever, like what you will do, I will just go for a walk, and whatever view I would like, I will paint it. That's it. So I will just admire what is around me. Okay. I don't need much in this case.
And I'm sure you've come across a lot of ups and downs and challenges like any of us.
Yeah.
So how did you what's the biggest challenge that you had, and how did you cope with it? Or
the biggest challenge. Wow. There were a lot. I will just like combine them together. Okay. So
Yeah,
just like the biggest challenge, I think, was to love myself and believe in myself. Because I have a lot of discipline, but I wasn't a very kind person to myself. And that basically led me to a lot of like tough situations. And the moment when you start to love yourself, you can actually give love to others, and everything becomes much more easy. So I would say that took me the longest period of time, but was the most efficient to improve my like quality of life.
And did that also play a part in art?
Of course, yes. So when I started to kind of like accept myself more and love myself more, I stopped being so strict in making like the perspectives, like that it should be like as it should, or like my lines became much more free, so I started to be more free with my hand as well. Mm-hmm. So just like it started to be more kind and free, so that.
Right, okay. How did you hear about Teravarna? Here we are meeting. So how did you hear about us? And
from the Golden Duck Gallery.
Okay.
So basically from there, I learned about it. Before that, I didn't know that.
Okay, so with Olgas 2, or were you in Olgas 1? Okay.
Two.
For this one?
Yeah, that was my first one.
Okay, so that's where you learned about Teravarna's existence. So have you been in any other competitions or anything else?
No, not yet. Like that was the first
solo shows
one.
or anything? No. Okay.
Fresh.
Yeah, fresh. Yeah. And what about what do you think about Teravarna? I mean, do you have how do you feel about Teravarna?
Well, yesterday you were like on the opening, you were telling a lot about like your mission and how you see it and how it started, and I think it's a very beautiful idea, and that you do your best like to help artists around the world to be seen, and it's really, really needed, especially with wonderful AI that now here. So we have kind of like this a lot of confusion because people don't really value themselves, let's say, and don't value the process, but I think it will arrive as well, that people will start to value humanity, I hope. And I believe that nowadays it's especially necessary and important to support like a live artist and like who actually doing something and want to do something, because that is precious, and that's not by default, let's say.
Right. Can't take it for granted, basically.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm just curious, and this was something that I didn't think of asking, but since you brought it up, what do you think about AI art?
So AI art is kind of like a baby of all artists ever existed. Yeah, so it's kind of like the monster that everyone created. But it's not like really a monster. So at the moment, it's really a baby. So it's learning. As a tool, it's wonderful because it can take a lot of work that was actually kind of stupid. So a lot of just massive design and things that are not actually art, let's say, or not like high design or whatever, but just like casual things. And it will also allow people who didn't have enough fundings, for example, they made a wonderful board game, but they don't have money to pay for the artist. So now they can actually still make their game like present in life, because they can just like generate these pictures and have it. A lot of children, like kids' books, unfortunately were absolutely terrible, because if you work in this kids' book industry, basically you work for nothing because they don't have enough of funding. So let's talk about money. Yeah. So and that's why a lot of these books were like terrible quality. And because they didn't have money, obviously. And now, even if you don't have money and you just want to make it, I don't know, for your kid or something, you can make something personal, even if you don't know how to paint, if you don't know how to draw, but you can make this project like happen. So that is a positive thing. And obviously, because of metaverse that is developing, there can be like much more fields where this can be used, because not everywhere the humans should do it. And like if there will be metaverse, the need of design will be super high, and kind of like it will be cities of artists who are working on this, and it's not like artistic job, it's really kind of like a planned job that you just need to just make it and make it and make it. So it's not, when you self-reflect about something, it doesn't really have a meaning, it's just fast fashion. So that is the thing. The bad thing when people are like, basically they're prompters, yeah, and it is like, I would say it is type of art, but it's not being a painter or an artist. It's kind of like the same if the photographer would claim that they're painters, or painters would claim that they're sculptors. It's just like, not really.
Right. No,
So
right.
they create art, but they are not painters or classical artists, let's say. Yeah, so I just believe it's kind of like, again, art history problem, that they are not developed the terminology yet. Yeah, so that's why it's confusion. That's why a person created like generated several pictures, and they say like, I'm an artist, and everyone is hating him because by the name artist, we understand a human being that creates something. So basically he confuses that terminology, but there is no terminology like, I'm a prompter. Like, yeah, you are. And there is no problem from that, right? Because that is exactly what you do. The same as like, if I would say that like, I'm a writer, like it's an artist, like let's say too artistic, but I'm not, because I'm painting. So it's not making me worse, it's not making me less, it just identifies what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
So that is the only thing for me that it needed, of course, to be guided by the legal like departments. So it should be visible, like some remark or something, or it should be possible to check. And I'm very glad that they started to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Was it created by a human, or it was created by a machine? Because people are liars. So, another thing, obviously, and they will continue to lie. You will never go away from it. The same as like a lot of people started to use AI as kind of like creating a draft, and then they just like paint it.
Got it.
That's cheating as well, because it's the same like again, art history lesson. So what is like, I think in English it's plagiat, yeah, as well. So if your artwork is like 70% or more equal to some other thing, that's exactly it, and it goes exactly for photos or other artworks. And unfortunately, even on the big festivals of watercolor, I saw people who took photo from the advertisement, for example, of some jewelry or whatever, and just painted it in watercolor. I know it because I have a lot of visual library and I work with a design as well. No one knows, and everyone's just like, that's great. And you're just like, okay. And as you see, even before AI, it existed. A lot of people completely copied the photos. Is it a lot of work like in the composition? Because now, because of the AI, it's completely, like for me, like, okay, for me it's visible that the value of art is composition the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this is your thought. Everything else is the skill. Is how good you can kind of like deliver what you were like mentioning there, but the composition is the core.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and after that it goes the color, it goes your way, it goes your style, whatever, but it's just like the rest of the prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that's why a lot of people prefer Midjourney to other programs, because Midjourney creates a pretty composition for you without asking, and others they will make this kind of like not so pretty because you didn't describe it. So you need to describe more precise for them and to create the composition, right? So I believe it also will kind of like be good and bad, the same as these deepfake videos. It will be a big problem and a big goodness. So depends on how humanity will be able to kind of like use it, the same as with atomic energy and everything. So I think it's more question about how good are humans and our culture, yes.
Right. Because they'll have to handle it somehow. I mean, how good they
We
handle it
should. And again, that's why we need to concentrate, because we don't, like, if we will say about the past time, people still were religious. At the moment, not much people believe truly in God, or at least like follow what was written, right? So a lot of people kind of passive religious, I call them, because they kind of celebrate Christmas, but like no Christ in it. And they don't really follow what is written in the book, like if we talk about Christianity.
Right.
But like I believe in other religions, like there is the same issue, like it's just like kinda, but not. So because of that, people kind of like lost a lot of, like, let's say, fear to be bad. Yeah, but anyway, we need some morals. We need, like, I'm very glad that a lot of people go to the therapy, because we do need. And I hope that people will develop more of this connection and compassion to each other and kindness, and it actually what is needed to kind of like treat each other better, to have a more bright future, let's say, because hating each other won't lead us to anything good.
Yeah, I'm sure. The problem here is, you know, people go to therapy, that's great that you're saying that more people are going to therapy, but I'm pretty sure there's more people who go to churches, mosques, and temples.
As well,
like,
because it's needed, because like you cannot live without some connection. And religion, like again, religion is kind of like a philosophy concept that allows you to connect with everything that's around and everyone else. And basically you can do it without God. Yeah, like you don't need God for that. You already can connect with everything that's around you, and you can meditate or just like open yourself, and you can go through like the same old Western way with philosophy, and it's totally fine. Because it has many faces, but basically leads to the same place. And each one of us has like its own past, its own history, own problems and goodness. So we cannot walk on the same road, and it's totally fine. Again, acceptance will allow us to understand that yeah, he's going on a different way, but it's totally fine, and it's none of my business.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As long as it doesn't hurt anyone else.
That's it. Yeah.
Last question. Do you,
it's going like philosophical.
It's going towards which is great, by the way. So I usually don't have this kind of discussion, although I love discussions like these. I almost kind of tend to not have these discussions more and more, it seems. But so how do you like? Would you like? We as for Teravarna, we are trying to do these bring you to YouTube, bring you to bring artists to the forefront, especially artists who are emerging or people don't know about, but they should know about it because they are very talented. So my question is there something that you would want Teravarna to do for you and know or do that we are not already doing, or do you have any advice for us?
Well, so far everything that I saw was very good. Just like what you said, that was wonderful. So I think I would like to have a bit more connection with other artists, because I was curious, and I don't know, maybe to have some page where I can connect with them after the exhibition, or write to them something. So these kind of things, because you see a lot of artworks, or on the opening you can see other artists, but sometimes you don't have time to ask their contacts or whatever. so they kind of lost, and you just like saw the picture and just like, well, okay.
Yeah.
So this kind of thing, because maybe it will lead to some collaborations, or like you will have something like a club of an artist who kind of like know each other.
Yeah.
So this kind of thing.
That's a wonderful idea. Like we can have like a forum or like a blog kind of thing where artists meet, like online. I mean, a chat group or something.
Yeah,
where
something
you
like that.
know about the other artists. Like moderated forum kind of thing.
Yeah, only like that.
Yeah, that would be great. Like we have maybe a Facebook group or
something like that. Yeah, so maybe like a Facebook group where everyone can just like, I don't know, say hi to each other or stuff like this.
Right. That's
so you won't lose each other or see each other, you know, once in a year, let's say, and then just like, oh, I still remember you, but I don't know your name. This.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Okay, I think that's. Do you have anything to say at the end, or?
Be good. Choose kindness.
Yeah.